Views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Voices of Women is a talk radio show that gives voice to the personal stories of women. It will inspire women and enlighten men to follow their dreams and create positive changes in their lives. Whether the audience listens to best-selling authors or a layperson like themselves, they'll realize there are others with similar experiences and feelings to their own. This show will give women tools they can use every day, which will empower them to step out of their boxes and create the changes they desire in their life. Kris inspires women to find their voices, speak up, and become leaders of their own life. Everyone has their gifts to share with the world, and it's time for women to work together to bring honor and respect to the feminine voice, which is within all people, men and women. Topics include personal growth, spirituality, creativity, leadership, and divine feminine. Now here's your host, Kris Steinnes.
Well, welcome to Voices of Women. So, I've been sharing how we are doing our 25th annual Women Wisdom Conference this February. And just to give you a little background, we are one of the longest running women's spirituality conferences probably in the world. Since 1993, WOW has been providing a unique, intimate setting for women to create lasting changes in their lives and in the world. And we need your help and support to continue that work. We have a crowdfunding campaign. You can find out about that in our Women of Wisdom website. And also just support us by coming to the conference. It will change your life. It's impacted thousands of women. You can imagine over 25 years what it's done. It's February 16th through the 20th. One of our favorite presenters was Jean Houston, and when she first came, she just saw there's nothing like this in the world, and that's how she describes it. We share our stories. We empower each other's dreams and spirit. We've built a nurturing, supportive community. So as a result, thousands of women have changed their lives, found their purpose. And, so we invite you to come, feel supported, be in a community, valued and inspired to discover your dreams and step into your potential. It's a great time, particularly now and what we're going through, for women to gather and really feel that support with each other. So it's a great time to be in Seattle. We have early bird specials for our featured guests. There's a couple that deadline is December 1st. Some are December 31st. All our events are individually priced, so you can create your own experience. So today I'm talking to two of our WOW presenters, local leaders from Seattle. They're presenting creative workshops using art to connect with our souls. So right now I'm going to be talking with Deborah Koff-Chapin. She is presenting a workshop on drawing out your soul, an experience.Touch drawing. It's going to be Saturday, February 18th. Deborah Koff-Chapin is an artist, educator, author, and vocalist. She has been developing touch drawing since 1974 and has presented the process at numerous graduate programs and conferences. Deborah created the soul cards. There's 2 decks of soul cards and also a series of 5 soul touch coloring journals. She's the author of Drawing Out Your Soul and the Touch Drawing Facilitator Workbook. And she has served on the board of the International Expressive Art Therapy Association and is founding director of the Center for Touch Drawing. So welcome, Deborah.
Hi, Kris. It's just great to be with you and be with the people who are listening.
Yes. So first, tell us your story. How you got involved in art, how touch drawing came to you.
Let's see how I can do that in an acorn kind of size picture. I think I was drawn to, in essence, to in some way, shape, or form be an artist, because for me, even as a child, it was my sense of connection to the sacred. I went to art school in New York City, and part of me was searching for something more natural, more organic, more direct during my years in the New York City art world in the early 1970s. And I had a very magical, synchronous moment on my last day of my last year in school when touch drawing came to me. And it came out of an underlying search. I think I was searching for something, as I said, And I unexpectedly discovered it just being playful in the print shop, where I moved my fingertips on a paper towel that was placed on top of ink. And I was actually just going to be helping with some cleanup, and I decided to play and move my fingertips. And if you can imagine having some ink and a paper towel on top and having your fingertips just scribbling motions on that paper towel and lifting it and seeing these very natural, direct impressions of the movement of my fingertips on the underside of that paper towel, that moment when I lifted the paper towel and saw this direct, very natural, organic touch of lines, I was sort of blown open, actually. So it was a creative realization. It was a moment in which I felt aligned with something much greater than my personal art life or my personal self. I felt like this process was being offered to me to carry and bring into the world. I had a sense that it was really being given from this place where human evolutionary culture emerges. So it was sort of a timeless feeling that I was in contact with this source place, and it was offering this very, very simple creative process, and that it would be useful in the future for people. I guess we're in that future now, because we're in 2016. That was 1974. And what I find is that people take to this process so naturally. It takes a lot of our the constrictions about doing art and kind of pulls them out of the way, and it's a much more direct body, soul experience of diving in and drawing out and becoming, letting our inner feelings, sensations, and images just pour right out of our body and onto the paper. So it engages people, and even people who are quote-unquote non-artists, it helps people engage in a very powerful, healing, creative process. And so a lot of my life has been built around introducing this process to people.
I was going to ask you what your experience is like in teaching this process, how that has impacted your life.
Well, I would say when I sit down with a circle of people before a touch drawing workshop, and as I'm in the midst of the workshop, they feel like the truest, rightest moments of my life. I might have questions about what I'm doing here or there and other aspects of my work, but as soon as I am with people and holding space for touch drawing, I have no doubt that I'm in the right place. So no matter what organizational detail and all these things it takes to keep up being someone who presents workshops and travels and all of that, I have no doubt that it's the right thing to do because I see how enlivened people are, and I see how authentic the process is, and how people can. It's like they dive into their souls. They're gazing into an inner mirror as they're drawing, and everybody just disappears on their own inner journey during the drawing session. And while they are drawing, I'm playing music and holding a sacred field with sound. And then they kind of emerge back, and it's as if their souls come more fully into their bodies, more fully integrated with their souls through engaging this creative process. So I love doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and it's very intuitive. I mean, you aren't, like you were thinking, you aren't consciously thinking about what are you going to draw, and have that. Sometimes that can be a block when you sit in front of a piece of paper and you start, you got to make this person look like a person.
Right. Or you have the one white sheet of paper and you have to think of something to draw, even just the idea of what do I draw. So one of the things about touch drawing is every drawing happens really quickly. So you don't do one drawing during a session. You might do 10, 20, or even 30, all depending on the speed, the natural speed that you want to work. But you definitely do a series in your own rhythm. And so that's one of the things that's freeing. No single drawing is so important. So you can relax. You can just move. You can just get into the flow. You can scribble. And in the course of that, you start opening up and just getting more aligned with your inner being. And some drawings might be scribbling, some drawings may be just releasing feeling and energy, and then there'll be other moments where something will just come through that people are surprised. They didn't even think they would be capable of drawing something like that. And it's all part of this series, this journey that you go on. Even the scribbly drawings are just as important as the ones where a powerful sort of archetypal image might come through. And very often people are surprised that they do things they didn't think they'd be capable of. But I think it's because they get to relax and not be so attached to what they do that can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you say, it needs to be very quick, and you just sort of keep at it. Like, you can throw the papers away, like, okay, it's next one, and nothing has to be perfect. It's just, and then,
right.
And that there's that evolution too of what you may be drawing. There could be this sequence that you're not even aware of when you start to lay it out. Maybe lay out all the ones that you've done in 5 minutes and see what,
yes.
all together they represent. Well, you've been at Women Wisdom probably longer than many other presenters. And you also draw. Yeah, I don't know if it's 1995 or somewhere around there.
I think it might have been 1994. I go way, way back. I think I missed the first year. Then I heard about it and said, I got to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, tell us so the other thing you do is you draw at our evenings. You do conference depictions of what's happening, what the person is speaking about when we have our evenings. You've been doing that for many, many years.
Yes. That's something I really love to do as sort of my own artistic development with touch drawing, because I certainly keep touch drawing myself. And I bring my drawing materials. They don't take up a lot of space, and I sit in a little corner, towards the front, and I listen to the speakers. And as I'm listening and I'm feeling just the qualities of emotion and thought that they're carrying, and I translate that into drawings. So, and because touch drawing is so fast, as they speak, I'm sort of keeping up with their content. So it's not so much like a visual note-taking as much as a poetic response to the content. And I have built up a body of work that's all around women's spirituality over these so many years. I love coming home to Women of Wisdom and drawing. Almost, I've missed a year now and then when I've been traveling or my daughter was sick, but most years I have been there. And I'm about to update my my online archives. By the time we get to this conference, I'll have the last few years put online. So
that'd be great. Well, we have to take a break.
Every year we'll be there.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to take a break now and we can come back and talk more with Deborah Koff-Chapin.
Are you sick of feeling overworked with no motivation? Take a break from the daily grind. Life coach Nicole Eisler is here to provide a healing journey of optimism. Passionate and caring, Nicole is no ordinary soul. Her dedication to helping everyone has no limit. Witness the power of positivity. Tune in every first and third Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific for Positivity Party Radio with Nicole Eisler on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit BigDreamAwakening.com.
Do you want to achieve your goals? Do you want to strengthen relationships with others? Do you want to improve your financial status? Colette Marie Steffen is partnering with Mark Kettenbach to bring you an energetic upgrade online experience. Unfold and develop your full potential. Visit energeticupgrade.com today for more information. That's energeticupgrade.com.
Beyond being this amazing neurologist, inventor, author, Dr. Dan Cohen has been called to look at technology and look at personal and spiritual development and merge these together. His technology uses the healing and psychospiritual effects of synchronized sounds, vibrations, electromagnetic fields, and how that interacts with us in our nervous system in what we're calling the Soul Tech chair.
The Soul Tech Lounge induces profound levels of relaxation that transition over time into deep meditative states. the synchronized sound, vibration, and magnetic field induce these states. The subject doesn't have to work at it.
To learn more, go to soltechwellbeing.com. That's SOLTEC Wellbeing.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Tune in to The Michael Shane Show the third Tuesday of each month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com and connect with the ascended beings to raise your vibration and manifest the life you desire. Get ready to receive healing through the transphysical mediumship of Reverend Michael Shane and the ascended beings. Visit MichaelShane.com. That's MyChael, Shane.com, and call 425-971-6632 to schedule your full healing session now.
Well, welcome back to Voices of Women. I'm Kris Steinnes, and we're talking with our Woman of Wisdom presenter, Deborah Koff-Chapin. So, Deborah, could you share your website and anything that you have to offer there for people?
Sure, happy to do that. Well, the process is called Touch Drawing, and the website is touchdrawing.com, just the simple words, touch and drawing together.com. My website is like 3 websites in one. We have a lot of information about the touch drawing process. Some wonderful new videos I've created in the last year are up, so you can see me demonstrate, see the story of it in video form. I have a lot of information about the soul cards and galleries with the soul card images and even e-cards. So if you ever want to send a note to somebody with a more soulful kind of image, I have, a couple of 100 images, including the soul cards and others. And also a soul card reading. You could do an electronic soul card reading. And then my personal galleries, where there's, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of images, is just a place you can dive into if you go to the Deborah Koff-Chapin galleries. And somewhere in that list, you will see some of the Women of Wisdom drawings that I've done over the years. So my website is a place you can wander around and discover a lot of particularly visual treasures. So I encourage you to just explore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was, and your coloring books are fun.
Yes, that's
kind of a
my
popular
new
thing now.
Baby.
Yeah.
It's my new baby. What I have realized is my coloring books are of a different order than the other coloring books I have seen, where is a very set shape that you fill in, and very often they're very small. The adult coloring books take a lot of very, very fine hand coordination. My coloring books are full of my images, some of them from Women of Wisdom conferences over the years. There's actually one that's called Gifts of the Feminine. So it's all women, feminine images. But because they're my images turned into black and white with the ability to fill in any way you want, it's much more of a flowing form. It's much more collaborative and free form than the other coloring books that are very set patterns that you fill in. And they're more like a soul engagement with the image as you color, with the invitation to also do reflective writing. The other side of the page is lined for you to do writing. So they can work for a much broader range of people. My personal experience has been sharing them with my mother, who's in a certain level of cognitive decline and doesn't even have the will to really create her own thing now. But when we sit her down with a coloring book, she just gets lost in doing it, and she's not really able to sit down and just focus on doing things. But you'll put the coloring books and the pencils in front of her, and she'll just start creating in a very natural and comfortable way on the images. So they really work in so many different settings that I'm exploring how they can be used in healing situations, things like hospice and support groups and things like that. So it's pretty exciting to support them to find their way into the world in a really different way than most coloring books are going.
Yeah, that sounds great to have your mother, and just opens the door for you can think about. And the nice thing about your coloring books is, like you said, you don't have to stay within the lines. It's very free form. So you don't know how, again, it's just like the system of touch drawing. You don't have to know how to draw. But what a great avenue for people who are in assisted living, or so if people out there have parents that trying to figure out what they can do, for them.
Right.
What a great idea.
And do it together with other people. And children love them too. And so many people, grew up with concern about having to stay in the lines and do things perfectly. I think a lot of the coloring book brings out some of those, fears in people too, because coloring books are so oriented to, fill in the lines perfectly. So these are almost the anti-coloring book coloring books. Where you're invited to put words on it, you're invited to cover, you could paint on the whole thing and just use it as sort of a skeleton upon which you can then develop your own feelings and imagery. So, it's very collaborative. It's like making my artwork available for collaboration. So it's, I think, got a big, long life ahead of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Well, I would love for you to share, because you have been at Women of Wisdom for so long, how do you see Women of Wisdom different than, because you also go to a lot of other conferences and do this interpretive art. And how is Women of Wisdom different? Because my experience is, and I can be a little prejudiced, but we have kind of a unique.
I would say that it's a sense of community. First of all, when I come every year, there are certain people I would never even know and who I feel are truly part of my regional heart community. I live on Whidbey Island, and I have my community here. But when I go to Whidbey, to Women of Wisdom, I feel like I connect with the larger regional net of women who are exploring in these same regions. So I feel like it's really expanded my sense of community. And to go from year to year to year and feel this deep-rooted history and this incredible perseverance and commitment to this vision, and to feel like I'm a part of that is really a blessing in my life. And it's almost like a timeless thing. I walk into Women of Wisdom, I feel the spirit of it, and it's like no time has passed since the last time I was there. I can almost mark my year with that feeling of like, God, here we are again. A year has passed, but I'm at Women of Wisdom. It's sort of like a marking point. And I think it's that ongoing sense of regional community that's just been building through Women of Wisdom over so many years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, and it's like coming home to family, but there's always new people. There's people we've known from before. There's always new people who are. It's just great to meet new people and have their eyes kind of opened into.
But there's a continuity. It's like the new people are part of the community. Yeah. Yes, it's like a continuum of community. Yeah.
And people get their eyes awakened to the divine feminine, or feeling that support, like they haven't been in women's community before and haven't realized the importance of having that support of being around other women. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And in my personal life, I have this on a smaller scale, and like I said, in my island. But when I go to Women of Wisdom, I feel like I'm a part of a much larger net of that, and it's really heartening, especially now. Time for us to come together even more, with even more strength and more love and more vitality. I think there's a sense of vitality and empowerment that happens through Women of Wisdom, and I think we need that more than ever right now.
Yes,
so hopefully this year we will feel that sense of mutual support when we all get together. Yes.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah. I wrote to our community how, when 9/11 happened, people were saying, people are going to want to come together. And yet I saw the handwriting on the wall when we had usually a consistent, this is back when we were 9 days, but a consistent attendance, people who registered before the end of the year, and it wasn't there. And it was like, whoa, here's this thought, people go, of course they're going to want to come together. Well, people kind of drew within and cocooned, and we had to draw them out, but the years after that, it just, it shifted things so much. And that I think this time it's more of a wake-up call, and people are our gathering. I mean, I've already been to a couple of gatherings myself. I'm going to be going to another one in Seattle, and people are realizing we have to connect. We can't cocoon anymore. We can't get home complacent. We need to be the ones that are active if we're going to change our world. And so there is a greater call, and that's exciting. So I think it's perfect timing in February for people to come together to support, because we do need each other. You know, we can't isolate anymore. And I think that's one of the great things about, you know, not just Women of Wisdom, other groups like this that are realizing the importance of getting out there and speaking up. So
I think there's an activation that came out of what's happened in this country, that on all fronts and all of these subject areas that are being challenged, we are feeling activated to stand up. Yeah.
Well, I want to, just before we end our time with you, you have these soul cards I mentioned, and maybe you could talk a little bit about those.
Well, these came out of many, many, many years of doing my own touch drawing, and at a certain point, I got this, idea to turn them into a deck of cards, and they didn't fit anything. Just like the coloring books are different from coloring books, the soul cards were different from other decks, because most other decks and still have like a book that you refer to. You pick a card and you go read, and it's almost like choosing the card is to enable yourself to find a page in the book to read. But the soul cards don't give you a written meaning. It's my images done in this deep soul space, this tapping of archetypal, particularly feminine images, if I'll be honest. Really, most of my imagery is of the deep feminine. And the images are just there for you to relate to in your own personal way. So I think that they help people come to trust their own experience. There isn't a book that's going to tell you what they mean. Just look at it. Look at it. How do you respond to this image? And they are still alive. I mean, they've been around almost the same amount of time as Women of Wisdom. I published them in 1995.
Oh, yeah.
And here we are. And actually, sales have been going up recently, and I'm reprinting them another time right now.
Well,
and they've had this actually parallel life with Women of Wisdom.
Oh, that's great.
Think about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Deborah. We have to close now.
Sure.
But everybody check out her workshop. She's going to be presenting her touch drawing. You want to come be creative on Monday? Let's see, it's Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, February 18th. Just go to womanofwisdom.org and read about it. Okay. Well, we're going to take a break now, and we'll come back and be meeting Cumbo-Gordon Cumbo.
Join in on one of the most life-transforming adventures in personal expansion and world service. In each of our upcoming shows, you're going to have the opportunity to join thousands as we focus healing energy to elevate and balance our world. This is a chance for like-minded individuals like you and I to join forces with lightworkers all over the globe as we light the way for peace, harmony, and a world driven by love. You'll also learn about magical innate abilities that you can develop and use to make your dreams come true. Joy Elaine, author of The Joy Chronicles, invites you to join her and millions of others working with the Galactic Masters, Angels, and the Ashtar Command as they assist humanity and planet Earth to achieve their ultimate destination of ascension. For more information, visit joyelaine.com. That's joy, ELAINE.com.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Are you feeling stagnant or blocked in your love life, career, health, or finances? Experiencing difficulty focusing or setting and achieving goals? Tune in to Spiritual Diagnostics Radio with psychic visionary healers Carol Dorian and Suzanne Evans. Discover the cause and effect of unwanted patterns in life. Tune in every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit spiritualdeed.com.
Tune in to Dynamics of Diversity Radio, scripting the new narrative for immigration with leading experts Kripa Upadhyaya and Steve Tanijo on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This show will remove the noise that often accompanies discussions on this topic and share a new perspective on the dynamics of immigration and diversity, ever reminding us that together we are all at the core of innovation, excellence, and positive change. Visit OrbitLawPLLC.com for upcoming topics.
There are so many resources out there for meditation. But did you know that Atana's Heart Earth Healing Meditation is available for you for free? Yes, that's right. You can receive this free healing meditation today from Atana Badili. All you need to do is visit his website, atanamethod.com. That's ATAANA method.com and sign up. You will receive your free meditation instantly. That's atanamethod.com.
Welcome back to Voices of Women. I'm Kris Steinnes, and now I want to introduce you to Cumbo-Gordon Cumbo. She is a trained soul collage facilitator, a laughter yoga leader, divorce resilience coach, and Reiki master. So she's been facilitating soul collage events and coaching workshops since 2008, and she will be presenting her workshop on Sunday, February 18th on Soul Collage, Discover the Wisdom Within You. And this is Kim has been with us several years doing this workshop. It's been a popular workshop. Everybody loves to create. Kim, we just had Deborah Koff-Chapin on the show who does the touch drawing, and now we have you doing the soul collage. So welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Kris. It's great to be back. I'm so excited to present this workshop.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like I said, you've done them in the past years, always with kind of a different theme. But tell us first what got you into being this leader in soul collage.
Well, I always had an interest in images from the time I was small, and it just grew over the years. And then I became kind of an amateur photographer, and what I discovered was that I really found deeper meaning in the images that I would collect. So then in I must have been 40, 41, 42, I was doing some therapy, and my therapist suggested I try a workshop at the Art and Soul company, and they had this thing called Soul Collage. So I signed up for it, and I was in the midst of going through a divorce, and the card I created fit so well for what I was feeling and what the transition was bringing for me that I just knew immediately this is what my heart and my soul had been looking for. So that was pretty much the first thing that came to me, along all these other things that have kind of come along in the following years. But I was also a fan of Jung. Carl Jung, and so soul collage, the process itself, is based on the work of Carl Jung, and it's creative, it's fun, it's easy. So I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination. My dad's a fantastic artist, but I did not inherit that. So this is something that I could do easy and find meaning and create something that meant a lot to me. So that's how I got involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us then, describe what soul collage is.
Soul collage is defined many different ways, but for me, what it means is you're creating your own personal wisdom deck. And it was created by Sina B. Frost, who was a marriage and family therapist in Santa Cruz, California. And she had studied with Jean Houston. And from her internship with Jean Houston, she had created cards for each of the students that were in the class with her. And she just took those cards and the feelings that her students had for what she saw within them. and started working on developing a process that she could use with her own clients. And then she saw the application for everyone, which is to find those parts of ourselves, both good and both maybe uncomfortable or aspects of the shadow, and bring them out so that you can acknowledge them. Because a lot of times the things that we don't acknowledge haunt us until we acknowledge them. And also then focusing on the light aspect. So soul collage is a process that you can use very simply. I like to equate it as, you can dip your toe into the swimming pool of knowledge that's contained within you, or you can dive deep and look for all the different selves and do a great deal of exploration.
And so what's the process then? What's the medium that you're in making these soul collage?
So the cards themselves are 5x8 cardstock, and then the images are just found images. They're literally, images that attract you. Your soul is attracted to. And so you sort through images. I bring thousands and thousands of images with me. And you sort through them, and then you find maybe 5 that you want to kind of work with. And this is pretty much a left brain process. So you try and leave any judgment or any expectation of creating something really artistic, and you just essentially play. We like to call workshops play shops instead of workshops, because that's, it's what it sounds like. So we're playing with these images. So soul collage is about image, imagination, and intuition. And you put all of those things together, and you just come out with this card that has a deep personal meaning for you. So you arrange the images once you feel like they speak to you and they're right, and then you glue them on with a glue stick. We just use simple scissors, simple glue sticks. And then the second part of the process is discovering the meaning or the message and who the card is for you. So then you kind of become the card when you're asking it those 3 questions. Who am I? What message do you have for me? And what gift do you have for me? And so you kind of become the card, and so you speak from the card. Like I have some cards on my table right now. And one is a picture of a little girl jubilantly surprised with the image of the universe behind her. So if I were to read from this card, I would say, I am the one who is amazed by what the universe brings for me to delight in. And then if I were to ask the second question, what is the message for me? The message, I would speak from the card, and I would say, the message I have for you is to remember your delight and your surprise in your daily living. And then the third one is, what gift do you have for me? And the gift I have for you is one of wonder and curiosity. So that is the 2 steps of soul collage. The third step is doing the reading of the cards. You can read essentially like any tarot deck. You can take spreads from other decks and work with your soul collage cards just like that. But my favorite way is to do a daily reading, and I just pull one card from my deck, and I will ask it, what would you have me know about my day today? And then I become the card, and I say, what I would have you know about your day today is it's going to be full of wonder and many surprises. That's a very simple way. And so in the class, what we'll do is we'll do that simple reading in small groups, and then we'll come together, and one person will do a 3-card spread. So we'll pick 3 cards and ask the same question of each card and gain the wisdom that each card has to give to the person asking the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've taken your workshop, and it's quite fun to do that. And and just to, intuitively choose these images of what you're drawn to when you're creating it. Out of that comes, so, you're pasting all these different things on a card, and it's a small card. It's not, some people do dream boards or collage boards that are big, and this is a small, 5x8 isn't that large, but it's amazing what you can, how much you can put into that, and then how much you can read of what it is this is trying, what is your inner wisdom trying to tell you. Now, one of the things that you wrote in your description of the workshop was about soul collage being a tool to unearth a guide or a messenger. So how do you see this as a are you tapping into a guide or a messenger when you're doing this?
Well, Kris, there are 4 suits in soul collage. So a lot of times what happens is in the council suit, which is the archetypical suit, you'll find that a guide will come up, or the companion suit is of the animals and of the chakra centers. And so it's possible that you might come up with your chakra, the animal companion for your throat chakra. So there's different archetypes that can make itself present, I guess, and known. You could come up with maybe like a light bearer card, or a wild woman card, or maybe as a small businesswoman, you're going to find your warrior businesswoman card, that sort of thing. So that's how you can come up with guides for yourself. And then also, if someone wants to bring some images of a family member or a mentor or a pet, you can work with the community suit, and those cards can become a guide for you. So I have one of the Dalai Lama, and the Dalai Lama is a guide for me in helping me to remember kindness and gentleness in every group or presentation that I am in, or difficult conversation. So that's how the cards can be different guides. And even the cards of your committee, which, is often referred to as the shitty committee. So it could be your artist aspect. It could be your teacher aspect. It could be your scared child aspect that becomes a guide for you, because each of the cards have both the light aspect and a shadow aspect.
Okay. Well, we need to take a break now. We'll come back and talk more with Kim about soul collage.
Dr. Bree Gibbs is a 4th-generation high priestess with the knowledge to raise your vibration in conscious creation, offering a wide variety of services from goddess light and shamanic healing seminars to private reading sessions. Bree works with you so you too can stand in your own power. Isn't it about time you took your life into your own hands? For more information about Bree's services and products, visit silvergaia.net. That's silver, GAIA.net.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Sky Siegel co-hosts one of today's most popular psychic shows, Angels and Answers, with Artie Hoffman, as she communicates healing messages from the spirit world. These messages can be astounding, enlightening, and life-changing. Born with the God-given talent of inner guidance and the amazing ability to heal, Sky has healed thousands of people. Schedule a reading with Sky now. Call 908-500-1474 and visit skyofangels.com.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
The Earth is an ever-changing being. Goddess Light Shamanic Healer Bree Gibbs guides us through the ascending worlds and brings forth knowledge and truth. As a light creator, she is here to provide new information needed at this time in our evolution. Join Bree as she shares messages from guides, spirits, ascended masters, goddesses, and others. Tune in Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific for the Silver Gaia Show and live the authentic life.
Hi, this is Leslie Fontaine, and my show is Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com. When we're bogged down with our emotions, the hardships that plague us in our relationships, at work, our finances, we literally can't see the higher plane where we could be operating from. Tune in to Leslie Fontaine, Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Welcome back to Voices of Women. I'm Kris Steinnes, and we've been talking to Women of Wisdom presenters, and right now with Cumbo-Gordon. Kim, can you give your website information and various things that you have to offer for people?
Okay. It is www.ignite, I-G-N-I-T-E, changecoaching.com. And if you click on services, there's a link for Soul Collage. So you can see the frequently asked questions there. And then I am doing a class for women coming through divorce with Soul Collage, helping you to find your personal guide to guide you through this process. And I don't know if anybody's listening who's in Portland, Oregon, but I have laughter yoga once a week, which is quite refreshing. It really sets your mind on the right track for the week.
Yeah, we all need laughter, especially when we get so centered on work.
Oh yeah, and especially at this time of year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've been talking about Soul Collage, and I just wonder, in your experience of witnessing people go through this, have you seen them discover things they didn't expect? Do you have some stories to tell?
Yeah, I have. One woman started coming to my meetup, and I didn't know it at the time, but she was bringing, there's really not very many rules in Soul Collage. So she was bringing pictures of an animal, same animal every time, so when we do our share, she would talk about this card in relation to her animal. And later, she realized that her dog, who had died a few months before, when she would make a card, would speak to her through the card. So when she would do the I'm the one who, what the message is, it would be her dog speaking to her, and she found a lot of comfort in that. And we ended up doing some private Soul Collage work together for about 6 months while she worked through her grief. So that was a unique situation. And then there was another woman who discovered that she did not realize that her avocation that she thought she really loved, she really didn't love it. And it opened up her eyes so that over the next week or two, when she came back to class, she had discovered that it really wasn't opera singing she loved, but it was helping other people to discover their voice. And so it took her into a different type of training and skill set that she now just really loves to do. So there's lots of women who just discover different aspects that they didn't either A, know were there, or B, were totally unprepared for, like a happy child card. Some people just don't, this one woman just didn't think about herself as a happy child, but then through the process, she discovered there was a happy child within her. And so that made a big shift for her. So those are just a few little stories of some of the things that women have found. And what I find is, even though I do have some men come to the group, it's mostly women who tend to be more drawn to this process. But men are welcome.
Of course. Well, that takes me back to, because you've done this at Women of Wisdom several times, to share with us your experience at Women of Wisdom. And like I just had asked Deborah earlier, too, of how she finds that Women of Wisdom to be different than other conferences and what your experience is.
Yeah. I love coming up to Women of Wisdom. I came up many, many, many times before I started speaking. And what I find now that I'm speaking there is Women of Wisdom, the women in Women of Wisdom are ready and willing to go deep. And so it's always not only fun to see what comes up, because there's a lot of laughter and surprise, but there's a lot of curiosity, and at times there's a few tears, and not necessarily tears of sadness, though there may be a few. It's more tears of joy and surprise. And I find that I don't tend to get quite the depth of feeling and emotion and aha in some of my classes, because Women of Wisdom is such a safe container for women, all women, to be able to share freely and feel freely. And I find that there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of spirituality, and so many women have done so many things and have so many different types of practices in their own life, but they bring just so much to the process, and almost everybody loves to share something about the cards they make. Not everybody, which is fine. You don't have to. But it's just a really rich process, and rich. I love the venue. I love how kind of spread out and open it is. I love how the rooms have so much air to them and light. So for me, I think it's just like perfect, because some of my venues are very dark, and I almost go claustrophobic because the ceilings are so low. So it always feels like, you can kind of reach heaven a little bit more, or universe, or you're just more free. So,
well, I think you tapped into the safety, that people feel that we have since day one, our first year, 1993, we built that in. That was an important feature. It's a safe place for people to share their story. And when you're making a soul collage, you're telling your story, and it can be very vulnerable. And so there's been a setup to allow for that vulnerability, because that's how we grow, when we hear other people's stories. And when you're sharing a soul collage, because you share it with the group, you are telling part of your story. And that's a very safe container to do that in. Well, thanks so much for being on the show today, Kim.
Thank you, Kris. It was great.
Yeah,
I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, we'll see you in February, and everybody can check out her workshop. Again, it's on Sunday on February 19th. Just go to womanofwisdom.org, and also Deborah Koff-Chapin's Touch Drawing is on Saturday. So if you're really into arts and creativity, those are two to check out for sure. So I'm Kris Steinnes, and the founder of Women of Wisdom Foundation, and be sure to check out our conference. Come to Seattle, February 16th to the 20th. We have a special rate hotel right by the college. And they have a shuttle. It's just 5 minutes away. You can visit womanofwisdom.org/2017 conference to get all the information. There's links you can see the whole schedule before you register. Just check out. You can register for even just one event, or you can register for several, or get a weekend pass. And it's all open now to register. So we would love to see you in Seattle in February. And also be sure to check out the book I put together is Women of Wisdom, Empowering the Dreams and Spirit of Women. It's the story of Women of Wisdom. It's the story of the gatherings. It's other women's stories who participated or who were creators of it, and art and poetry, and some of the talks that some well-known people have presented at Women of Wisdom. And so it's an exploration of the divine feminine, and an inspiring book in that regard. So you can check that out too in our product page at womanofwisdom.org. Okay, well, we're at the end of our show, and I'm so glad you could listen in today. And be sure to come back and listen. I'll be, from now on until February, talking to all the different presenters that we're having at our conference. So everybody have a great weekend and a wonderful Thanksgiving. We will have a show on Friday, and so we'll be talking to you then. Thank you.
You've been listening to Voices of Women with Kris Steinnes. Tune in each Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Voices of Women Today, radio with Kris Steinnes.
Are you sick of feeling overworked with no motivation? Take a break from the daily grind. Life coach Nicole Eisler is here to provide a healing journey of optimism. Passionate and caring, Nicole is no ordinary soul. Her dedication to helping everyone has no limit. Witness the power of positivity. Tune in every first and third Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific for Positivity Party Radio with Nicole Eisler on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit BigDreamAwakening.com.
Dr. Bree Gibbs is a fourth-generation high priestess with the knowledge to raise your vibration in conscious creation. Offering a wide variety of services from goddess light and shamanic healing seminars to private reading sessions, Bree works with you so you too can stand in your own power. Isn't it about time you took your life into your own hands? For more information about Bree's services and products, visit silvergaia.net. That's silver, Gaia.net.